You're watching Real Flix Reviews. This week we're reviewing the movie Green Street Hooligans. I bring you movie news. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, hello, and the man who would be Queen, Ryan Preston. This week we're reviewing the movie Green Street Hooligans because of Ryan's unforeseen absence. James, what was this movie about?
Well, Green Street Hooligans came out September 2005, starring Elijah Wood and Charlie Hunnam. I probably mispronounced, but whatever.
Probably.
Jax Teller. For those of you guys who may be fans of Sons of Anarchy, that's who he plays, Jax Teller. Anyway, this movie is basically about a guy who is going to Harvard, gets framed by his roommate for some coke, gets kicked out of Harvard, goes stay with his sister out in London, shenanigans happen, and it ends up being a movie. Now,
Shenanigans? You call that shenanigans?
Yes, I just did it.
Wow.
Director/writer Lexi Alexander really only directed 5 movies. I would say this is the only one of note. I glanced over his kind of short-lived directing career. 5 movies in, 7 years?
Whoa.
Yeah, 7-10 years. So he really doesn't have much on that.
She also did Punisher Warzone. Not something I would put on my...
Yeah, that's why I said, Green Street
Not
Hooligans.
exactly padding the resume with that one.
Yeah.
That in the movie Foolproof.
At least they didn't do...
Was that the one with, what's his name? Who was in that? Ryan Reynolds?
I just closed out of that page.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, I think you are. Anyway, so nothing really in their career. They didn't really do Green Street Hooligans 2. Let's not even go there. So
she had nothing to do with Green Street Hooligans 2.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so that is a good thing.
At least she had the foresight to not dip back into that well.
Yeah. So, all in all, I really do enjoy this movie. One of the things that actually watching this again, this is about the 3rd time I've seen this movie, is the shaky cam. The way
you kind of forefronted that whole little docu style of film cinematography.
I understand they were going for that, but that really gets old. Because, it's not a documentary.
Yeah.
So you really can't just kind of forgive that because of the fact, all right, some little morons wandering around with a camera type thing. So that gets old for me, but, seeing Jax Teller in this type of role is actually really cool to see, especially
younger too, man. It was it didn't really occur to me that it was him until I was kind of looking through the credits at the end of the movie, and it just snapped like, oh no. I know that name, man. I know that name from SOA.
Yeah, well, I was staring at him and I just went. The second time I saw him, I'm like, "That's Jax Teller! Holy cow!"
No, it was more like that's. I know who that is. It's who is it?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I was thinking, dude.
Yeah, so
he was stuttering there.
Other than that, I like seeing Elijah Wood in a role like this, especially with the transformation of a character. It's
much different.
It is. It's totally not something he's used to, especially going from some wussy Ivy Leaguer to some, vicious, hardcore footballer fan, crazy.
It was kind of funny how he started out the character sort of with the perception that people have of him as an actor, and then changed almost people's perception of him as an actor along with his character's transformation.
I still think he only has like 3 or 4 facial expressions, though.
He really does.
Happy, sad, mad, and the silent face.
And they showed all of them in Sin City.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in this movie.
So, but the thing I really want to bring up about the plot of this movie is I'm a Raiders fan. I wouldn't say I'm a crazy Raiders fan.
Want to admit to everybody?
But I'm not going to go out and start some freaking crazy-ass fight just because some idiot is a Padres fan. What is it?
Right.
Chargers fan or something,
Yeah.
If you're going to do it right, you got to say the 49ers fans.
But what I really think... No, because that is fighting. What I really think is that this shows what happens when you take away a society's guns and you don't let them go out to the range to work off their anger issues or in their backyard to pop off some rounds. That's really what I think it is.
Well, then you have Dodgers fans.
The other point I have is this movie really proves what is wrong with British society. Because, if you take away the arms of a citizen...
We're just going to indict the whole island.
And get rid of the death penalty. And also take the guns away from cops.
No, cops have guns.
What are
there.
you gonna do?
Well,
You're gonna
the
start
cops have
beating the
guns,
crap out of
but
people randomly.
Well, the cops
Whatever you
actually
call
have
them,
guns. The bobbies.
The bobbies don't have guns.
Yeah, the bobbies.
They have clubs.
Yeah, they have clubs. There are some cops.
And a whistle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If a
I'm
cop's
sure
coming at me with a
it's-
club and a whistle, and I got a brick, what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna kind of laugh at him and chuck the brick at his head. You know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I really see about this. Other than that, I mean, the whole plot of this movie is basically showing what happens when you really watch a boring game.
Yeah, you gotta tend to find your own excitement.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is the the look, you know, the really crazy look into the deep world, deep underbelly of soccer hooligans.
It is. That's really what it is.
You mean
It's
football.
about soccer games.
Yeah.
It's soccer, dude.
It's soccer. But, you know, honestly, guys, I mean, I enjoy this movie. The thing about it is that it kind of just does show that underbelly of, you know, that society that where they go into the fact that they are gangs. They are British.
Yeah. Oh,
they
yeah,
are
yeah.
British soccer gangs.
And they have their rivals, but I mean, it's not even about the football team win or lose. It's just about, oh, we can't wait to go play these guys. Like,
Yeah.
half don't even want to watch the game. Let's just leave halfway through and go kick the shit out of each other with
Yeah.
some beer bottles.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of what it really shows is that. And, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you actually let the citizens carry guns and knives and stuff, there's going to be a little bit less fighting.
That's true.
Just to be
Well,
honest.
Eventually, they're going to
The
weed
fights are going
themselves
to be a
out.
lot shorter.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, there are going to be a lot less of them real quick.
Well, I'm sure there's certain sheriffs in the in California, even all over the country here, who just have this feeling that the more concealed weapon licenses there are out there, less crime,
Exactly.
and that seems to work. You know,
It does. I mean, you're not going to rob a gun store, right? But if
well,
you go to a
the
liquor
bottom line
store,
is, I'm not going to get all deep into this, but there's
All right.
crazy people and there's not crazy people. Crazy people are going to find ways to do crazy shit no matter what, and not crazy people are going to maintain.
Well, you,
Yeah.
So, you know, guns or not, it doesn't make a difference.
you forgot one. Then there's Raiders fans.
That's a different story altogether.
actually,
Those
I thought
are
it was
people.
Dodger fans.
Those are
Close
animals.
enough.
All right, so Ryan, those were my points on the movie. What did you pick out?
The one couple things I wanted to bring up. One of them, you and me, James. I know we have a big, kind of a deep history in watching a lot of British movies and British television
Oh, yeah.
and shit like that. So
Yeah.
it's not like we're the uninitiated.
I love Are You
Wait.
Being Served?
But this movie is really kind of built for the uninitiated of British filmmaking, because it really kind of walks the line of American sensibilities, but then this kind of awesome little introduction into British, and not only the type of filmmaking, but the culture as well. I mean, there's a ton of those moments where they're bringing up, because they're trying to teach Elijah Wood's character,
Yeah.
hey, this is how we do things in England. This is what a pint is. This is fish and chips. This is how we say things in our weird language with the bees and honey for money kind of bullshit. And it's just those moments where Americans who aren't really familiar with the British humor and things like that, because a lot of it's colloquial and regional and things,
Yeah.
so you don't get a lot of the jokes. But this did a really good job of explaining a lot of the things that was going on, a lot of the culture, by having this character be learning through the experience as well. I love Elijah Wood's character in it, because it was just, again, we already brought it up, watching the transformation. You don't really see him do those kinds of things. I know you and me both are a big fan of Everything is Illuminated.
Yeah.
Which is,
I'll second.
which is a completely different role, but equally good. But it definitely shows some range on his part.
Yeah, and that one will be brought up later again.
Yeah. Seeing Charlie Hunnam, or however you say his last name, I hope I'm not butchering that.
I think you got it just as good as I did.
Yeah, seeing him in this was really interesting, especially kind of knowing where his career goes. SOA like a motherfucker.
I'm right there
so-
with you. Wow.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
actually
I love
interesting
that.
seeing him, because that's actually his natural accent that he just did in that movie.
Yeah, which
And then in
is,
SOA, he
weird,
does-
because Claire Forlani, which is another one of my favorite actresses who doesn't do enough movies as far as I'm concerned. She's playing an American woman.
Yeah.
And she's British. So it's all backwards in this, but a good cast. I mean, and you could tell they're kind of picking out of their own well of actors too. I mean, it wasn't heavily America like, hey, we need to have a bunch of huge name people in this movie to make it legitimate. they just got Elijah Wood, who up until then really wasn't doing anything spectacular, at least in this kind of indie film sort of scene.
Well, I think he just came out of Lord of the Rings, so I mean...
So there you go. I mean, kind of erasing the stigma, because, I mean, there's the nerds who love Lord of the Rings, and they're going to blow a bunch of sunshine up his ass all day long. But then there's the people who don't like it and who are like, screw this whiny bastard.
No. He did the movie North and Flipper with Paul Hogan. I mean, there's some...
Hey, North was the shit, dude. Bruce Willis, come on. I was 10, dude. Cut me some slack.
Ooh, that's a lot of slack.
You can hang yourself with that slack.
It was like an 8-year-old Twilight Zone, This weird story that all ended up taking place in a dream.
I can't argue with you on that one. I mean, you comparing it to Twilight is good enough.
He said Twilight Zone, I think.
Shush.
Twilight Zone.
Shush. No, I was cutting out the. I was zoning out on that part. I was letting him have Twilight.
Now you're cutting through titles. So what else? I mean, I didn't want to cut you off there, but
no, it's okay. Damn fun story to watch. Definitely kept it moving. You really kind of got to like all the characters. Even the guy that I can't remember his name, who was kind of the asshole of the group.
Oh yeah.
Bover.
It's
had his redeeming moments, and you can tell through his rough exterior that he was, the heart of gold and the loyalty, for his mates. And I don't know, just had a good time watching that movie, and it one of those movies that shows you don't need an insane budget or fancy effects or cinematography to tell just a really cool story.
Yeah, but the makeup artist who did that movie did a great job showing all the bruises, the cuts,
the costumes in it were great. The soundtrack kicked ass. There were all of the little minute things that all came together to really make a cool film.
Well, because when you're doing an indie movie, I mean, you got to pay attention to the small details because you can't afford the giant ones.
Yeah. Exactly.
So is that it for you, Ryan, or?
What were you thinking, man? Have you seen this movie before, John?
No, this was my first time seeing it.
Okay, so first impressions. I'm kind of anxious on this one.
The first thing I noticed is I love the atmosphere. It has a very working class aesthetic while introducing, local areas to non-English or non.
Yeah, real Guy Ritchie kind of let's show the back alleys of England kind of thing.
Which I thought that was cool. I loved the colors they chose. It was a very earthy tone. It was nothing really popped. It wasn't like
no, it was all kind of muted. It had that dead kind of feel to it.
It wasn't like the movie Everything. It totally
illuminated.
Well, yeah, that had a very poppy color to it. It wasn't like sorry, my mind. All Things May Come, the Robin Williams movie. Everything had a very bright picture.
Yeah.
This one was very toned down, very dark, which I liked. I thought it fit the. Hello. I thought it fit the. I thought it fit it very well. My only thought was they need like subtitles like the Snatch movie, so I know what the hell they're talking about half the time.
I guess he wanted the. Oh gosh, I can't think of the name of the subtitles on that one. It wasn't the.
Because one of the editions of the movie Snatch, has the whatever language.
The
Brad
Gypsies.
The
Pikeys.
Pikey.
Yeah.
Thank you. They had subtitles.
Not quite Irish, not quite English, just
Pikey.
Yeah, they need the subtitles there for some of the vernacular. And the other thing I thought was cool is they didn't slow it down like they would for if it was made for a complete American audience. The language was boom, 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 and I thought that was cool because then you had to kind of listen to it and kind of get it. Because it seems like some of these movies, they slow things down or the language doesn't seem to fit.
Right. Yeah, they do a lot of over-exposition for just the audience's sake, and it's like people don't talk like that when they're next to each other. They don't say everybody's name over and over again. They know who the F they're talking to.
Exactly.
And they slowed a couple of things down, like I said, for Elijah Wood's character, but it seems like you're kind of sort of picking up these little local
nuances,
rituals and things, if you will, sort of along with him. You're kind of learning these things with them.
Yeah, and I thought that when they did slow it down, they had to. They had not only slow it down because it's part of the story, but for the characters. So you, as an audience member, don't feel like you're being served to, which is nice.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, it's not pandering at all.
Yeah. The other thing, I love the pacing. It was just slow enough that you wanted more. It wasn't slow enough, like, crap, I'm not watching this, because the moment it got slow, it, boom, picked right up to something that was interesting, which is a lost art, in my opinion, in movies today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, nobody knows how to slow burn a movie anymore.
No. And some movies, they're so slow you want to turn them off. This movie, I thought they could have gone a little slower, but I thought the pacing was absolutely perfect.
What it comes down to is how well does the pace drive the story. You know what I mean? You're trying to tell a story, and slow or fast, does it move the story along? Does it tell the points that it needs to tell without having a bunch of shit in between that nobody cares about? And this kind of did back and forth. You know, sort of like you said. I mean, it got to those moments where you're kind of like, oh, I wonder what's happening next, or I wonder where this moment's going to go. But it was always like they say something, let's go through the door, and then it's the story of them going through the door. It didn't really jump this crazy back and forth or have any kind of weird storytelling. And
I like the fact that it was just slow enough and just fast enough, so it didn't give you a lot of time to just kind of take yourself out of the movie and think about the next plot point.
Yeah.
Because a lot of movies today, they're either so slow or so fast that they're just super like, boom, that's going to happen.
Yep.
Well, I agree with you on that point, is the fact that they were kind of getting you used to what was going on in the society, and then it was kind of like you were walking through the whole situation as Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
That's what, as Elijah Wood's character, that's kind of what they were trying to tell you of. And, I mean, that's not going to be a rush type of thing. You're going to have to get accustomed to it, you're going to have to get comfortable with it, and that's I really
something
think
they do in most movies nowadays.
No, it's not.
The other thing is, James was complaining about the shaky cam, but I love the fast-paced, shaky cam during the fight scenes.
Oh, hell yeah.
I thought it added a somewhat, because it was a very fast cut, very shaky. I thought it added a really decent amount of action to otherwise some very slow, odd fight scenes.
Well, no, it wasn't the fact that they were doing the shaky cam. I felt that it was too much of the shaky cam. That's what it felt like to me.
Some points I'll agree.
It was excessive.
Some points were like, you didn't really need to move around that much, because it just ended up being just a blurry fist hitting a blurry head.
Yeah. But that's kind of how a fight like that would go, where they were mostly outnumbered.
Well, yeah.
That was basically what I really appreciated about the Green Street guys, is they were always up against 5-1, it seemed like.
Yeah.
There was very a rare time where it was 3-1.
It's like my favorite scene is towards the middle or later on in the movie where they pay off some beer guy or whatever to drive through a bunch of enemy hooligans.
And then turn around and come back and charge them.
Yeah, I love that.
Really, guys? Did you guys count? There's 10 of you. There's 30 of them.
And I love how the Elijah Wood gets through. It's like, oh yeah, we're making a movie with Cameron Diaz. That's it.
It was Hugh
Grant movie.
Hugh Grant movie with Cameron Diaz.
I love that. Yeah. And the thing that I'm really thankful for, not being a big soccer/football fan, was it wasn't like Major League. Every other scene wasn't a baseball or soccer scene.
Oh yeah.
It was an afterthought, if anything. Yeah. It really had nothing to do with football.
Well, they only.
It was just a setting.
Yeah. It was needed to continue the plot, so you could show them that they're big soccer fans.
Yeah, it was all about the motivation. That was really just the motivation for them.
Yeah.
Having
to go out and drink and fight.
And, I think anybody, especially Middle America, understands diehard fans. I mean, you talk to anybody with a high school football team in Texas.
Exactly.
You don't know diehard. So the feelings and the emotions that it brings up, I think resonates with a lot of people. Anybody who's just into any sports.
Yeah,
kind of get into that frame of mind.
And I have to agree. Was it you about Elijah Wood's job, or was it acting job on this one, or is it Ryan?
Oh yeah. Well, we both actually mentioned.
Because I have to agree. What really redeemed Elijah Woods for me was Lord of the Rings, because otherwise than that, he didn't do a whole lot of movies that really interested me. But this movie, to me, is just like, everything was illuminated, like you said. It just showed that he can act, but I think the movie has to be well written, has to have good cast.
Yeah.
And he's not
good, well directed.
Yeah, he's not somebody I don't think that can carry a movie all by himself.
No.
But he's a great character actor, and everybody's kind of trying to push him into these leading roles. But he's a great character. I mean, when he does these just kind of different little people, I've always liked him.
I agree completely. I'm really looking forward to see what else he does. I mean, but really, I guess Lord of the Rings really said, okay, I'll look into this guy again. Then he did a couple of more movies, like Sin City. The role he did in Sin City, not a lot of voice acting, but the way he played it off, I thought was really good.
Oh, it was great. I mean, it was all expression or lack thereof.
Yeah.
You know, but just I don't know, with an economy of movement, really kind of played that character awesomely.
Exactly. And I wasn't really sure. To be completely honest, this was never a movie that I would have gone out of my way to see if it wasn't for the show. I give it a 4. Okay. I don't know if this is not a movie I'd go out and see right away again, but it's definitely worth seeing. If you've never seen this, to me, this movie's totally worth it because I like it. What about you, James?
This one is one of my top. It's not one that I give it a 3, but my basis on that is the fact that I think it's a really well done. I think the acting in it is done very well. I just don't think that the story altogether has that much meat or substance to it.
What else would have you added if this?
No, I'm saying for what it did a great job. It set out to do it, did it perfectly, as far as what the goals of this movie were. But as far as the substance of it, I mean, I don't really care about the sister. I don't really care about any of that. But I do end up rooting for the main character in the end.
True, I see what you're saying.
So that's kind of what it is for me. That's why it sticks at a 3, is because of the fact that the story in there doesn't have enough substance for me to go beyond a 3.
I could see that.
So that's kind of where I'm sticking at it with a 3. But I think that the acting is really well done. The cinematography is very well done. The editing's really good. The director, the writers, everything, but the meat of the substance of it doesn't really hold that much for me.
So you didn't like the secondary characters? You didn't love them? They introduced you to get farther in the story without you.
Well,
really
I mean, I liked the general, and I was really rooting for him, and then the major.
Yeah,
sorry,
I was really. I think that I think that one of the most important secondary characters was his sister.
Yeah, but
and she's in like 2 scenes, maybe 3.
No, about 4.
Yeah.
So you would think somebody who's somewhat important. I don't think as important as the Charlie Hunman or whatever his name was in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think she was an important character that they just kind of left floating.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not really into those kind of melodramas where, I mean, oh my gosh, he got framed for drugs and now he's got to go find himself. I'm not really into those. Those types of stories don't hold that much water for me.
You don't love the stories of redemption?
No.
So what about you, Ryan? What's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. I basically, for the same reasons more or less that James said, as far as the story was a little bit thin, as far as it is just about people in a bar fight, who get into bar fights. I love the story. I love the characters. The acting was top notch. I mean, they really grabbed some fantastic people, for kind of what seemed to be sort of a low budget, movie. It did add really standard, like oh, everybody sort of, obviously there was that moment at the end when spoiler alert, people died. But it had the whole like, oh, everybody learned something at the end. We're all better people because of it, sort of standard ending. But damn, I like this movie. It was just it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And again, I want to reiterate that this is like the perfect movie if you're not really familiar with British film or sensibility or television. Check this one out first. I mean, it's a good sort of a starter film. I mean, to kind of get your feet wet with the whole culture.
Well,
and if you're into this kind of thing and the way they tell stories and things like that, I mean, there's some fantastic other movies out there,
like Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
And those are a little more.
I'm not a big fan of Two Smoking Barrels.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Both of them are fantastic.
Sorry to cut you off. We're getting a little late in the program, so it's time to give you my movie news. After scouring the internet for hours upon hours upon hours. Not really. Prometheus sequel set for 2014 or 2015 release.
Oh, cool.
And Ryan, you keep turning on and off the lights in there? It's
no, I missed the screen, and when I opened it back up again, it got dark. So I
okay. So the rumor is, I guess it's going to be done by Ridley Scott again, which is good. And I guess the two major characters are still somewhat be in here. The one woman should be.
Okay.
The woman who gave herself her own abortion.
Yeah.
Which by itself was odd. The second one is one I've finally been waiting for. Bill Murray, not in Ghostbusters 3.
Really?
Yes, it's about time. Well, here's.
I know it's been kicking around, but I really want Bill Murray in it.
Well, here's the story. According to
Ryan?
I think that's what they were all kind of waiting for. I mean, everybody was sort of holding out to see if he'd be able to do it. And I mean, did he give a reason as to why he wasn't going to do it, just not into it anymore?
His whole reason is nobody wants to see a bunch of fat old men on camera.
Bullshit.
That's what I'm saying.
But if I remember correctly, last time I saw Harold Rhimes, he wasn't exactly a skinny guy either.
So?
Who
cares?
That's Egon, ladies and gentlemen.
I know.
No, I agree. So apparently, according to Dan Aykroyd, this is going to be about handing the reins of the Ghostbusters to a new generation. Which,
yeah, and that's what always was going to be about.
And that's why you need the big BM.
Well, here's the thing. It's either going to be. I
did it.
I'm hoping this is going to be good. I think the first two movies, the way they're written, it could be a good transition. But I think this is a possibility with modern movies to suck.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, it definitely has the potential.
And
that's probably what Bill Murray was thinking. Is, I mean, he might have given that excuse, but I think he's just terrified of it being shitty.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, he doesn't really have to make another movie. So, I mean, that's pretty much...
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing is, one of my favorite actors/comedians, John Leguizamo, joins the cast of Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah!
If you're not sure who John Leguizamo is, he played the clown in Spawn.
Yeah, but you don't... okay.
You don't really see him?
That's what you go to? That was your, hey, if you don't know who this is, here's an obscure movie he did in the 1990s.
But that's not as obscure as most of his other movies.
That's a good point. The Pest. Now that's where I know him from.
The Pest?
The Pest.
One of the worst movies ever put to film.
Horrible movie.
It is it's embarrassing to watch. I'm pretty sure he has to buy up all the copies when he moves to another town just to not be anywhere near it.
Yeah, I was surprised that he didn't get ran out of Hollywood with stakes and pitchforks and torches.
Here's so we got another one besides the clown. That's the one that I think most everybody would have known him from.
He's been in a lot of other things, but you just don't know it's him.
Okay, yeah.
Trust me, guys. He's been in TV shows.
Great character actor, but
movies.
As soon as you see his face, you're like, oh shit, that's the guy.
Yeah, pretty much. I know that guy.
That's the guy I have to blame for the Pest.
Well, he's always the guy that stands out. He's the small character that stands out in every movie, even if he has 2 lines. He's the one you remember.
Yeah. Anyway.
And the other one is in a not surprise department. The Hobbit might become a trilogy.
What?
I heard rumors of that too, man. That's freaking me out, dude.
What it is that they don't. From the article I read and the actual couple I read, they're not sure. I guess it still has to be approved by New Line, as I think the people doing it.
Oh, they definitely will approve that shit.
Well, here's the thing. There are a couple of ways. Have read the books before. There's a couple of ways they could do it by tying stuff that's not actually in The Hobbit and not in the same time frame, The Lord of the Rings. But at 3 movies, not only can it be verbatim, it'll be page by word.
Yeah, really. And by song. I'm pretty sure they'll probably add all the musical shit they had in the original Hobbit.
That's horrible.
That's no. I don't want the song. It's
horrible. Why wouldn't it?
What's wrong with the songs?
The only one I liked was the beginning. You cut all the rest of the songs out. So what it is I guess, it says The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. I guess is be the first one this year. There and Back Again is the one next year. And if a third installment is greenlit, an additional shooting would take place 2 months next summer. So which to me means they have a lot of footage that they want to use.
Yeah, probably. But man, they had to overshoot like a crazy bastard on that movie. Everything being digital now. Jeez, it's a lot cheaper. You don't have to pay for all that crazy, film.
And if I remember correctly, they're using a 4K camera with an odd frame rate.
Like a high frame rate, or
it was 28, 24, something, 26. Something.
Look, at a certain point, your eyes can't even process the amount of frames that you're seeing in the first place per second. So who gives a shit past 32?
But you know what I'm not really looking forward to though is buying the extended editions, and each movie is going to be 5 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
Man, me and James used to argue about this all the time back in the day when they were doing the Lord of the Rings. It's like, I'm just going to wait until they come out with the ultra, mega, super brilliant edition that's going to be 10 feet by 10 feet. It has all those characters, in statue form, and, a bust of Gandalf and his fucking sword or staff. And they never actually combined the whole 3 movies because they had each one as an extended special edition. I figured they were going to take those and put them all together.
But like $100 a pop.
Right. Oh, yeah. But they had the little characters with the little golem and things.
It's still not as long as the Alien Quadrilogy box set. It's like 6 feet long.
That's nutty.
So next week's movie, have we decided next... Oh,
Ryan. So, A Beautiful Mind.
One of my top favorite dramas ever. I love the shit out of that story. That's definitely getting a 4, bloody borderline 5, man. But I think I have to reserve those for the standalone, genius movie. But damn, A Beautiful Mind was such a cool freaking movie. Let's see, Russell Crowe, Ed Harris, Jennifer Connelly, Chris Plummer.
Okay. No, hold on. I gotta cut you off. Okay. Do that right. Russell Crowe, Jennifer Connelly, then
Ed Harris.
Not even Ed Harris. Ed Harris goes after the roommate, and I can't think of his name. You just said it though.
Chris Plummer.
Yes. Then Ed Harris. I was pissed off at IMDb for that one.
He was.
What did they list him as?
Russell Crowe, then Ed Harris. I'm like, seriously, Ed Harris was a side character.
Yeah. Maybe because he drove the story more forward than most of the people. But I love
give Jennifer Connelly her due.
He was an awesome character actor.
Yeah, he was. James was bitching about that for hours.
Story. Definitely a 4 for many, many, many reasons. I would recommend that movie to fucking anyone.
Yeah. So I gave it a 5. John gave it a 4, and Ryan gave it a 4 too. So.
Yeah, like I said, borderline 5. Like, man, but really, what if I don't know what I'm holding out for?
I think I don't remember.
You started with a 3 and then you moved it up to a 4.
Yeah. How dare you start with a 3?
I don't know, man. I started talking to the movie, and then he's like, "All right, I'm going to change it and go with a 4."
You just guilted him into it.
No, I was just talking about how the reasons why I gave it a 5.
Okay.
No, you should see the burn he gave me. It was like, "You're gonna give it this."
No, after the show, I beat him pretty bad.
So what about Ghost in the Shell?
I actually cannot find a copy of that. The one disc that I actually found of it was corrupted, so I'm gonna either have to bootleg it or find it somewhere else. I'll get back to you on it though.
Okay.
So now you can go on.
Okay, the next.
You got to give Ryan his time,
True, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being a piece of shit for a couple of weeks. It's been crazy around this area.
We forgive you, but the audience, maybe not. Next,
as they should not.
I can give you his phone number, everybody.
Next week we visit the theaters and one of the newer releases. And have we decided in which movie we're going to see?
Ryan and
Don't say Dark Knight Rising. I swear to God, I'll never do the show again.
I was going to say Ryan has forced this one. He's forced my hand here.
No. America has forced your hand here. Okay.
Well,
I'm still after Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Want, James?
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Well, James actually
we've crossed that bridge.
James
we'll get that one on DVD.
James really wanted to see the movie Brave.
Actually, I do want to see that one.
Watch it when you're done.
Actually, I don't want to root it like that.
I'm sure she'll enjoy it more than the rest of America.
So next week's movie is going to be The Dark Knight Rises.
Fucking A.
And apparently he's excited.
I'm sorry, I get emotional with this. Okay, it's just been a long time.
All right, hold on. How many times have you seen it?
Just once so far because I got to go back to the theater and I'm gonna really deconstruct it. But
he has a giant man crush on Dale.
To say this, it
all came from American Psycho. It was 2 years
before it came out. It was so hard not to see anything about this movie because I wanted to go into it pure. And I oh man, I was so glad I did. Damn, I like that movie. Okay, we'll get to it later. Okay.
He likes it almost as much as he liked Christian Bale in Empire of the Sun.
Oh yeah, he's had a major crush on that guy.
Ever since Equilibrium, what can I say?
Oh, I thought it was American Psycho.
Oh, well, I guess that was before. Yeah.
So, ladies,
Yeah.
so ladies and gentlemen, excuse me while I laugh. This week, I gave Green Street Hooligans a 4. James gave it a 3, and Ryan gave it a 4. 3, excuse me.
He gave A Beautiful Mind a 4.
Yeah, he gave A Beautiful Mind a 4.
Posthumously.
Possibly. It might not count. So,
Quite a price.
ladies and gentlemen, next week's movie is going to be Dark Knight Rises, which is still in theaters as of this recording. And you're watching Real Flix Reviews.
Goodbye.
This episode of Old Guy Tech TV is brought to you by Ward's Automotive, specializing in Banks Power and Pack Brake, servicing your car or truck and specializing in diesel engines. Over 30 years of service, located in Diamond Springs, California. Give them a call at 530-626-5588.